Class.
Okay, class.
So it's basically the same process that you guys been learning throughout this whole class. So the first step would be centering. This is kind of a lot of clay too, but it'll give me like a good sized cylinder.
Wow.
So I told you guys like 80% of my centering comes from the heel of my palm. So I'm gonna just lean into it. Thumb on top to compress it downwards, right? And this edge right here, I usually clean it up with my fingers on my right hand. Just clean up that bottom edge. So my thumbs are together, butterfly position, right? And I'm compressing downward. While I'm pushing in with the heel of my palm. These fingers are pulling in just a little bit, cleaning up the bottom there. Now sometimes I showed you guys this before. I do the cone method, right?
Wow.
If you feel like there's some air bubbles or some unevenness in your clay, this really helps get it a little more consistent. I think there are a couple of those. So basically I'm pushing in this way and letting it cone up, and then with my thumbs on top I press it back down. Okay. So for a cylinder, I'm centering this in a format that's a little more vertical, right? Because I want this thing to grow vertically, get some height off of it. When I was throwing a bowl, I would flatten it out a little bit more because I wanted more of a horizontal shape. So that was step number one. Okay. Make sure you read that. It looks very important.
Attention.
Step number two. So I showed you guys how to do the butterfly technique. So I would try to find a center point. Keep positioning your thumbs on either side of center. Go down. And let's stop about half an inch from the bottom.
Now, you don't do that for your own work, right? Just because you're teaching us, right?
I do it occasionally if it's
If you're
going to
in
be
the-
very critical that I want to put a nice foot. Bowls, I usually do it because I really want a nice foot on the bottom of the bowl. But yeah, sometimes I can get a good sense of the thickness.
Yeah.
It's about a good half inch there. Okay. So that was step number two. Step number three, I'm going to set up the floor. So for a cylinder, I want to have a very flat floor that's parallel with the wheel head, and a wall that's perpendicular to that, right? So this is where you start using the left hand on the inside. Start off where I left off. And the inside hand is going to be doing most of the work, so the outside hand, I'm just going to support it. Okay, I'm just leave my hand on the outside. Just so I don't take the ball of clay out of center and go straight across. Remember I showed you guys a little trick I do? Flip my fingers and let the fingernails ride on the bottom. And compress that, the wall right there on the corner. That's a little trick of like how I get a really tight corner on the inside. So I'm doing that. You guys can see that. Okay. And this little water on the inside. Okay. So that was step number three. Step number four, I'm going to even out the walls. So right now there's a lot of clay on the top. It's thinner than on the bottom. All I'm going to do is I'm just going to compress the clay.
With your right hand.
Right hand, the right hand's mostly just keeping the clay position. The inside hand is, I'm going to compress it like that. So it's going to be like a pool.
Is this like anything 3, 6 o'clock thing? No.
Yep.
This is it.
Everything from
Between
here on
3
out
and
is
6.
3 and 6. Yeah.
3 and 6.
That's where you put in the pressure.
Yeah. And the reason for that is if I work this way, I'd be going against the rotation of the wheel, right? So if I'm on this side, you're going with the rotation. Okay. So step number 4, right? So now I have an even cylinder. This is the beginning of my cylinder right here. Step number 5 is the pull. This is where you guys, I think, some of you might be struggling with. This just takes a lot of practice. Just takes a lot of practice, you know. It's like anything else. So what I like to do is I start with a groove, and if you notice, I'm using my body, right? I'm resting my arm on my leg, giving me a little more support. My arm on this side is tucked into my side. This is what you don't want to be doing, okay? You won't get any support that way. So just make yourself comfortable. Start with a little groove. I'm going to use this as a point where I can pick up up some leverage. It may help to bridge your thumbs too. That can give you a little more support. Just apply some pressure. At this point, it's mostly my outside hand that's doing a lot of the work. My inside hand is supporting
For the pulling.
the wall. That's one pull, right? And I think naturally,
Straighten out the top there.
what's that? Right here?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it got a little uneven. Another thing is, I think clay when you're throwing, it has a natural tendency to flare out like that, like
Really?
like a bowl. Yeah. So every time you do a pull,
Bring it
it's a
in.
good idea to just bring it in. That's what we're doing, right? Just like that. There's a little bit of air. going there.
Full color.
Yep. So I'll do it again. Do another pull.
Just middle finger mostly and index, right?
Yeah.